Hello and welcome to Down the Slope. I'm Ewan, and once again I'm joined by Liam, Greg and Harry. And this week we have been joined by Hibs the Week winner, Hibs Twitter celeb, A-lister. Harry, would you say A-lister?
I'd definitely say A-lister. In terms of, if we were to do a tier list, which might be coming soon, I think that Alex would definitely be up there.
Okay. So yes, we're joined by Alex, alter ego Fattest Prickus. How you doing, Alex?
I'm very well. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much.
So Alex, seeing as we've got you on and you've won Hibs the Week last week, we wanted to see if there was any questions that any of our listeners wanted to pose to you. So we'll get straight into them first before we go in to talk about the actual football. So okay. 150k on Hanlon Hill has asked, would you be so confident with a smaller sombrero? What's the favourite roast that you've ever done?
A smaller sombrero.
Would you be so confident if you had a smaller sombrero?
Absolutely. Of course. I've not even got one on today, look.
What's the favourite sort of pre-match roasting that you've ever done?
I thought you meant roast like lamb or that. Honestly, I don't know. I liked the one the other week with the Rangers one. That was maybe too much ammunition.
What else? Right. So this is coming from Liam. Which football, and everyone else can get in on these as well, but which footballer other than John McGinn has the biggest farter?
Probably Conrad Logan. No.
Oh, that's a good one.
Shout.
That's a big
Any other? He has a solid farter.
Big arses, I can't mind. Conrad Logan, he jumps to mind. He's got a big arse.
It's in proportion with the rest of his body, though, to be fair. Like
that's true, which is big. That's what he said. What's the biggest arse?
Yeah, biggest arse.
Biggest arse in football.
But can you remember that Zeefoot from Hearts? He had a fucking humongous arse. Jesus Christ, it was huge.
Who is the biggest arse in football, though? Craig
Chris Boyd.
I think that's a whole different podcast, to be honest. You could David Thompson following on for that.
Who has the biggest arse? Conrad Logan would be my guess, but John McGinn.
That's a good shout. Another Hibs Twitter elusive person, Kaiser Soze. Elusive person, that's fucking terrible.
Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible use of the English language.
That's his well seen I've done well in school. Elusive person. Kaiser Soze is asked, some people are saying the sombreros are just a PR gimmick. Can you confirm?
No.
I can actually confirm that is not correct, and that is part of Alex's everyday wear.
Yeah, I would say to that question, I would say, who are these folk, and show yourselves.
Guys are supposed to reveal yourself.
Oh, is it? He's faceless, isn't he?
And then we've had a question. We've had a question from John at Long Bangers. The beard. Is the beard because you thought beards were sexy, thought beards were cool, shaving is a hassle, or Hibs Free Rangers too?
Hibs Free Rangers too.
See everything you put a poll up. I just imagine you put it up and then you go on your second account and you vote Hibs Free Rangers too.
Hibs Free Rangers too all the time, even if it's a really serious question. All the time.
Right, so let's get to the football. Let's
wait, I had one more question. This is a bit more of a serious one. But my mate Michael, Mike Hibs on Twitter, I don't know what the full that is, but he asked, so what inspired you to start absolutely decimating other clubs? Because we all love it, and we just want to know like when it started and why it started.
I had an old account that got banned, so I finally got a new account, and I pretty much wondered what I could get away with. and not been banned yet. So I don't know. This when you're playing, when it's match day, you just want Hibs to get right into them. So fuck them all.
I think what it does perfectly is it just summarises shite that you would shout at other teams at the game, because you just clutch at any fucking straw that you can find, and you just fucking throw it at them.
A few weeks ago, I imagined Jack Ross using it as part of his pre-match team talk to the players, just getting on Twitter and just seeing what you'd said and read it out before the players went down the tunnel. But I've unconfirmed reports from the club that he has used it, but we'll confirm those.
I can neither confirm nor deny. We got a kind of, you can get the tiles in the tunnel for the players to read. Me and my dad got one, and it just says into them. So you get like 4 lines, and I think we took up not even one. So I hope it's there.
That's classic. Right, so Stranraer on Sunday. Just to clarify, it was Stranraer on Sunday and it's Livy on Wednesday night. It's no St Johnstone, as I was convinced, but you corrected me earlier. So Stranraer on Sunday, Greg, pretty comfortable. What did you make of the game?
Thank you for asking a question under 1 minute, Ewan. Yeah, I thought it was a very professional performance. I didn't think we were ever really at risk. They came out of the traps which you'd expect and missed a few chances, but in the end we were clinical. So yeah, nothing really else to add to that. I was absolutely hanging out my hole. So I wasn't looking at the analysis of that. It's 4-0 Barry. Move on.
Liam, you were running the Twitter on Sunday, and I have to say, actually, I don't know if maybe Harry had taken over by this point, but one of mine and Harry's mates highlighted the picture that you used for 40. Did you do that on Paint on your computer and just fucked out there, or?
Nah, this is the first number 40 that came up when I googled 40 image screen.
Sorry for some like they were like, your design guy needs a pay rise.
Sorry for ruining the brand of Down the Slope on Sunday on Twitter. I know that the tone of voice wasn't what you'd usually expect for the Twitter account either, but to be honest, I found it really hard multitasking, watching the game and tweeting at the same time, so that was as good as you're going to get, especially when I was watching such a sparkling Hibs performance in the second half, because it was good to watch, wasn't it? Particularly the second half, felt like we upped it. I thought I've heard a couple of people say that they felt we started the game slowly. I didn't think there was any risk of us starting the game slowly. I thought we were just playing a team that was eager to go out there and press, and then I think once we scored the goal, to be honest, that even at 1-0, I felt like it was just a case of when we were going to get the second or third. The game was put to bed pretty early on. Boys took the finish really well. So like Greg said, professional performance, but comfortable as well, really, in all honesty.
Yeah. Harry, Liam and Greg both said like maybe Hibs, some folk have said we started slowly. Did you think we started slowly? Because for me, Stranraer maybe had a good 5-10 minutes, but we still had countless chances. Nisbet missed a few early doors. Like, do you think it's just people expecting Hibs to be 2-0, 2 goals up inside 10 minutes because you're playing someone for League Two?
I'm surprised that neither Greg or yourself or Liam mentioned it, but I thought that pitch was horrible. I thought the first 5 minutes, I thought we started a bit off just because every time we kicked the ball flat along the ground, it would bounce about everywhere. Like that's the worst grass pitch I think I've seen in a good few years. Like the ball just wasn't moving properly at all. But when it comes to games like this, the reason I don't like the League Cup in the middle of the season is when we play against lower league opposition, we tend to lose momentum. Like even the games like over the international breaks and stuff, I thought that we went into them playing quite well, and then we just brought ourselves down to the opposition. We played rubbish. But against Queen of the South, we kept it going. I thought we were quite good against Rangers, and then against Stranraer, like it was 4 goals going on. Like their keeper kept them in it. To be fair, like if we'd scored 7 or 8, I don't think anybody could have complained, and they definitely should have went down to a red as well. But yeah, no, I thought that we played really well. I've got no complaints. I think if you're complaining after that performance, you're just a bit of a whiner and you should grow up.
Grow up. Alex, I was like Greg. I was hanging at my hole on Sunday and all, so I wasn't. It would have taken a lot to get me excited. But on Sunday, obviously we scored after, was it 37th minute or something? But before that, Kevin Nisbet had missed a couple of absolute sitters. Did you ever get the feeling that it might have been one of the days before we went ahead? Or
Aye, and then you're pretty confident the goal's coming. The commentator said at himself that the goal was deserved and there was a matter of time. I was more impressed with Jackson Irvine on Sunday, or Saturday. What day was it? Sunday.
Sunday.
Aye, I really liked him. Boyle impressed, and I don't think I was ever in doubt that we weren't going to score.
For me, I thought like the midfield cruised it. You should, I guess, you should be cruising against the part-time team that are playing every fucking second or third day or whatever it is they're playing. But I think, like Harry says, difficult pitch, difficult place to go. I think if there was ever an advert for 3G pitches in Scottish football, that was going to be it. But you could just see, like, especially early doors, like I think the amount of times the ball sort of just skidded up and smashed off of Joe Newell when he's just tried to play easy passes and that. But I don't, like you say, I don't think he can play at all. And then really similar to Queen and South game, you go in 1-0 up, you're right, this could be a lot more. But Greg, just how good was it to see Christian Doidge score again? It's the most obvious thing in the world. We've said when Christian Doidge scores, you're going to streak. Everyone's said it. We're not claiming to be fucking reinventing the wheel by saying it, but that's 4-4.
It's, yeah, I mean, it's not really one of those strong opinions. It's just a fact, innit? That he will go on a streak, and he done well for the goal. I think the first time the ball came in, he kind of put his body in the way and won the header and came back in, and it's another good finish. Again, it's similar to the one against Queen of South. He's just picked out the corner, and he is very intelligent at times when he is on a streak, and I think sometimes when he's not, that lets him down. He's not as intelligent, maybe more desperate to get goals, but again, it's another all-round brilliant performance from him. Everything he done was top notch, and you know, we've already played one game in the split, 4 left, and this is when you want your strikers firing all cylinders, and he's picked up form, so good to see.
And just, I'll pose this out to everyone. Obviously, Martin Boyle, Christian Doidge and Kevin Nisbet, they're not really playing as a front three, but Boyle's got the pace to do so. 41 goals out of the 65 goals that we've scored have come to them. One, obviously, it's great to see our strikers scoring that many goals, but is that a worry that if they're not firing, there is virtually no goals in the rest of that team?
No, that's what they're doing.
Not for me.
It's not a big issue. They've actually all gone missing at points this season as well, so it could be more than 41. Obviously, Boyle had a couple of off performances. Doidge wasn't scoring for a while, and Nisbet had his wobble as well. So you know, it could have been a lot more than 41. But the players are there to score goals. That's not a worry for me.
Oh.
You know, if other players can chip in, perfect, but their sole job 9 times out of 10 is to put the ball in the net. So, yeah.
Anyone else got any thoughts on that?
I'd like to see Joe Newell chipping in with some goals. Like he seems to just hit it wide every time he tries.
Don't get me fucking started. Just fucking hit the ball. Just hit. I said like just. But it's a weird game. This I only got it.
And just for me, like I think the main folk that are complaining that we're no scoring goals from midfield are the same folk that were complaining when we were starting Stevie Mallon. So I just think that Hibs can't win no matter what they do, because you've got a goal scoring midfielder and you've sent him off to Turkey. Like,
is there an argument that a player like Stevie Mallon is only needed when the player, like Greg said, when they're going in their off spell, you're thinking, oh, we need goals for midfield, but because your 3 main goal scoring outlets are performing regularly, it just that masks the fact that Jackson Irvine hasn't scored a goal. Joe Newell hasn't scored since St Mirren away, I think, right at the start of the season. Like, and Gogic's obviously got the one, but you wouldn't expect him. So, like, do you just think it's no issue at all?
The others not chipping in? Nah, I don't think it's an issue, because I just think the way that Hibs are set up at the moment, they're playing with 3 guys who are considerably further forward than anybody else in the team, and therefore they're going to get the lion's share of the goals. I think Jackson Irvine, the sample size is too small to determine whether or not he's going to be a goal scorer for us going forward or not. I think in the early days he was getting himself into a lot of positions where he looked like he would score, and I think he will score goals for us. I don't think he's going to be a 10 goal a season midfielder, but I think he will score. I think Newell should be scoring more. I think our defenders are contributing from set pieces as well. I think Cadden's got himself into loads of positions where he's looked like he probably could and should score. So And Doig's got one or two this season,
He's
and
a few
again
now.
also is getting himself in position. So look, we're getting guys in positions. You know, one of the things I really gets on my fucking nerves with football fans is when strikers go through a spell of no scoring goals, and all of a sudden they're no use to the team. Right? Kevin Nisbet got himself in a lot of positions in the first half, and I saw quite a lot of folk slating him on Twitter at half time for getting himself in positions and no scoring. And then he goes and scores a deflected free kick in the second half, and all of a sudden he's a god again. So, you know, let's just be realistic about it. The guys aren't going to score every single chance they get, but if they're getting themselves in the positions, I'm all right with them missing, as long as they're getting themselves in the position and we're creating chances, because 9 times out of 10, things will come good for us. Let's just keep creating chances and keep putting teams on the back foot the way we did in the second half against Stranraer, and we'll be fine.
A lot of the work that strikers need to do as well as getting into those positions. As Liam said, it's when they don't get in those positions, you have to wonder. We're getting in dangerous positions. We're getting in good areas, so I don't really see the big issue. You know, he's missed chances. Who doesn't miss chances?
Me.
Yeah, no.
I know, Alex. I was halfway through asking that. I knew you were on the podcast and thought I'm here, but.
No, I mean, obviously the Rangers game was disappointing. That we only scored the one. I was going to say we didn't score at all, but obviously Kevin Nisbet scored late on. But the two games, albeit against lower league opposition, you have come away scoring 7 goals. So I don't think there's any issues in going forward. What did Alex? I'll pose this to you because I think the rest of us spoke about it. So obviously Matt Macy was back in goals for the cup game. Do you think that's a sign that he is going to be number 1 next season?
I don't see why not. If Marciano's away, and Dabrowski, I've heard, is going away as well. Is that right? Or...
So I think Macy and Dabrowski are both out of contract at the end of the season. It's just
right.
a case of whether we offer them the deals.
It wouldn't be a bad signing to make. He's looked impressive so far. Really tall as well. So that, I don't know. I don't see why he can't be number 1. Who else are we going to have?
No, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Liam, I think you're probably out of the 4 of us, probably one that's maybe least sold on Macy. Why are you not overly infused with the thought of him being number 1 next season?
I'm just not wedded to us keeping him, to be honest. I don't think he's done enough in the games that he has played to demonstrate that he's head and shoulders above anything else we could get out there in the market. I think the goal he conceded against Celtic with the Turnbull free kick, I thought his positioning was nowhere near good enough, and I thought he should have done better with it. He dropped the ball at the weekend. I know it didn't lead to anything, but if someone sweeps it up and taps in, it's a clanger. So I'm not saying he's not decent, but I just haven't seen enough of him to suggest that he should be our number 1 next season. I would like to see maybe what Dabrowski can do if there's an opportunity for him. But also wouldn't be averse to us going out into the market to see what we can get. I think the difficulty we're going to have is we've got Marciano on a contract where we're paying him probably less than what he's actually really worth in the open market. So if we go out there and try and sign someone with the same level of wages, we might not get the same quality of player that Marciano is, in my opinion. But Macy, who knows? He could be great. The thing, and I try not to let it cloud my judgment too much, but when we signed him, all the Plymouth fans straight on Twitter, you've got an absolute diddy here with this guy.
Right.
And I know you shouldn't use the judgment of the previous club as to what your player's going to be like. You can't help that impact your thinking when you sign a new player. Of course, it's going to be a factor.
No, absolutely. And Harry, just how important is it that the goalkeepers continue to actually wear goalkeeper kits? Because we seem to keep clean sheets when we actually do that instead of just farming them in the away kit.
But seriously, like I get that it's got the fans' names on it, but what was the point in, like, they should have made the yellow kit the away kit and then made the other kit the alternate kit, because we literally never wear it.
And we've worn it once.
It's so stupid.
Celtic Park at the start of the season, was that the only time we've worn it?
Yeah, it's actual mental, like, oh. But
I can't even think.
I think it's a bit harsh on Macy. I think that the way that Liam's speaking about Macy is the way that I used to speak about Mark Oxley, and no matter what he did, I would vilify him just because I didn't like him. I think in his defence, I think both the games, even though he's not had much to do, he pulled off a very good save in that game. I can't remember what minute it was, but a guy shot from outside the box and he got down really quickly for a big guy. I was like, he's 6'7", he's getting down like that. And against Queen of the South as well, there was a 1-on-1 that he made a good save with as well. So he's got a concentration span, which is always nice. He might drop one ball, but I think the main problem at the moment is sample size. If we confirm third with 3 games to go, we stick him in and hopefully he gets a bit more shots into him just to see what he's actually about. But Aye.
You need 20 games with a keeper, don't you? Judge them really. You need to see them play 20 times, and we don't have that luxury right now. So whoever we're saying is going to be a gamble, and Macy's probably no bigger a gamble than someone would buy in open market. I just think there have been a couple of signs that I would be a wee bit concerned about, but no, yeah. I'm not pishing the mattress just yet.
He's kind of was class, but in the first 10 games, and it ended up being a bit That Macalambe, by the way, he was an absolute monster in his first 10 games. And then people just started hoofing the ball towards him and he panicked. But yeah.
I think you've got to be stone Raj to be a keeper. Just, you've got to be mental. Like, I'm going to fire myself at the ball that's coming at 100 mile an hour to my face. That's mine. You've got to be ridiculously Raj, I think. And none of them seem to be, but they're good keepers.
The one thing that I remember with Macalambe, and obviously when he signed, I was still pretty young. I just remember the fact that he could comfortably just pick the ball up with one hand, like it was one of the claw machines to get a teddy, and then he could also just chuck it as far as he could kick it. I was like, what the flying fuck? But then obviously punted it off Lee Miller's back at Aberdeen, so that was a good laugh. Harry, the only other change that we've seen was one that me, myself, and I had predicted, and seeing Kyle McGuinness start. What did you make of Kyle McGuinness' performance? Obviously, sort of played left midfield.
I think at the moment, just because he's not got much time, I think he just looks really desperate to do well. I think that if anything, he's a bit too direct when he's on the ball. I don't think that that's his game. I think I also don't think he looks like a winger when he's played. I think ball retention a bit like Dylan McGeoch. And that's what I've heard from some St Mirren fans, in the way that he just kind of powers up and back and forth, up and down the pitch. If you look for him, you notice him doing good things, and if you don't look for him, he's kind of anonymous. But putting him on the wing, he does need to pick up the ball and drive at players, and I just don't think that's his game. I thought it was a bit harsh as well, taking him off. I thought that
that surprised me.
3-0 up, I think, when we took him off. So I think you could have just given him the full 90 to see if he could get a goal at the end or whatever. But
that was it. I think Dre Wright came on for him, and don't get me wrong, Dre Wright's not done much in his time at Hibs, but I'm not one that vilifies him. But like when I seen Dre Wright coming on, I assumed it was going to be for Newell or Irvin, and McGuinness was going to move inside, because I get the argument that he's not played for a while, but surely getting 90 minutes in him is better than the 60 or the 70. He was unlucky not to score. And I think what he has shown in glimpses this season, I know he's only had the one goal against Dundee United, which was a cross, but I think did he have a chance against Hearts in the semi-final? I think he does get into the box and look to score goals. So I think that is obviously on what we were talking about earlier. I think that is a good sign potentially for going forward into next season as well. Liam, do you think you've done enough to potentially think about getting into the team for Wednesday night?
Nah, I think Gogic will come straight back in because of the kind of game that Livingston is. I think we'll need him in the middle of the park, to be honest. I think McGuinness is a different option to Gogic. I don't necessarily see the two of them being interchangeable unless we're playing really different opposition. I think McGuinness would come into a game like Stranraer and we're looking to be on the front foot a wee bit more. But I agree with what Harry said. I think he was drifting left to allow space for others. But unfortunately, what was happening when he was drifting left is all he ever wanted to do was get back on his right foot and either swing it in or take a shot. And I don't think that's necessarily his game. So I would see McGuinness probably more likely to come in and replace Newell or Irvin than he would for Gogic in probably most games.
Yeah. And Greg, do you want to just maybe see us out on the second half performance? Just Martin Boyle, 2 goals again. Obviously started diving again when that boy absolutely fucking crunched him. What did you make of this? Just wrap us up. What did you make of the second half performance, Hibs?
Yeah, we just upped it. Just went up a gear and blew them at the water, to be honest. Boyle was very direct and he was getting balls in the box, and I think it was Alex that said earlier that the goalie kept him in it for the full game, and especially in that second half. And like, I can't really add anything else to that. We won.
It's a weird one, eh?
We played well. We were professional. We upped it when we had to. There's nothing really else to add on that. Overall, good performance.
Yeah, I think one thing that obviously last week we really sort of tore into Scottish football coverage and some commentators and pundits and stuff. So 2 things. Obviously, it was announced today that the pay-per-view offerings will continue into next season, which I think we sort of said last week that would be a good thing. And what did you make of Chris Elowumo? I'm struggling tonight, by the way. What did you make him on co-commentary? In the first 5 minutes, I thought, fuck, he's going to be quite great, and because he is, but it was refreshing, I thought.
I don't think you could be further wrong. I thought that everything he said, he just seemed to disagree with me, and it was just really annoying. Like, I feel bad for him because he was actually not the worst striker in the world. If you're playing for your country, you can't be that bad. But that miss, you just can't. Like,
He knew how Nisbet felt.
See, the thing that annoys me about commentators is when they say things that are stupidly obvious. Like 4 times Nisbet are shot off target, and he was like, he needs to be hitting the target there. Obviously, he needs to be hitting the target. Where else is he going to put the ball? So I just he wasn't for me.
Nah,
I actually quite enjoyed him. I thought I found his enthusiasm quite.
yeah.
It was
Like, I thought he just sounded like he wanted to be there. I listened to him on another podcast through the week, and he does a podcast one of the Boys of Terrace, and he's actually just a dead interesting guy with loads of interesting stories. I think I was already kind of bought into him before he did the commentary anyway, and I just found his enthusiasm great. He said some things that were cliches. We've denounced cliches before on this, so we're no big lover of cliches, and he did punt a fair few, but actually I found them just like it's just a different voice. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just sick of the same voices covering Scottish football all the time. It's actually just good to hear a bit of a different voice, a bit of a different perspective, and not just people just filling the roles because, like, you know, they fancy a career in the media like Ricky Foster. I mean, I do not give 2 fucking cents of a fuck about what Ricky Foster thinks about Hibs. I could not care less. I don't want to hear his opinion. I don't want to see his specs.
No, I'm very much. I agree with you, Liam. I'm not even going to try and say his name. I thought he was good, and I think he's good. I think he's good on sports scene, and I know, obviously, I don't even know if I think he is Scottish, but he spent pretty much his full career in England, and to still have the passion and the enthusiasm for the Scottish game that he showed on sports scene, and for a Hibs Stranraer game, like, I was expecting it to be fucking Billy Dodds or something, and it just to be us, like just to be something utter pish. Alex and Greg, I'm going to pose a slightly different question to Kevin Kyle. Why? I know he's from Steamrolled, but why? And he thought Hibs were playing Hearts after about 2 minutes into the programme.
He seemed like a bit of an arsehole to me. I don't. That's pretty much it. My dad said the same thing. Who's that? And he said he looks like a vicar the way he was dressed with the white thing. But I don't know. They probably just wheeled him out because it's somebody that used to or is from Stranraer, and that's it. Like, the derby used to be, or the Hibs derby is Hearts. Kevin Kyle played for Hearts. Let's get him.
Aye.
But he's an arsehole. That was my dad's words. I'll go with that.
Greg, any further comment?
Can't really top that, but it just seemed like he was being shoehorned into the role, along with Mikey Stewart and Stephen Thompson. So yeah, it was pretty pathetic, to be honest. You aren't telling me that Stephen Thompson is a good presenter, because he's not. Throughout the full game, he held the microphone to his mouth. Don't know why. Pretty pointless exercise, but yeah, I mean, he's a dick. Stuart's a dick. Kevin Kyle, so that's my analysis.
Can I just say, Greg had the opportunity there to absolutely slate Kevin Kyle, and instead he chose war on Stephen Thompson.
Probably saving it up.
Right.
I mean, I can't really talk what Alex said. He pretty much covered it, so I wasn't going to attempt it.
I expected. So I'm going to go on a tangent here. Me and Greg have, sort of amongst our friends and stuff, brought a good insult back in. How good a fucking insult is "you are a loser"? How good is that? If someone calls you a loser, you have got fuck all. What do you say? And I just expected Greg to Greg to turn and just go, "Kevin Kyle's a loser," and I would have been gone. And he missed. But imagine if someone turned into you in 2021 and went, "Mate, you're a fucking loser." What do you say back to that?
Can't exactly turn around and go, "Nah, I'm a winner." What have you
won? my absolute favourite related to that, he just popped into my head because he got sacked today, is when Jose Mourinho called Arsene Wenger a specialist in failure. That was absolutely. I loved that. I loved that part. That was when Jose had a bit of something about him. But
speaking of Jose, have you heard his next gig? Celtic.
Hi.
You
imagine that?
He'd fit right in up here, by the way. Imagine him if your knee sliding down at Tynecastle. I stole that off Canal Tracy. Shout out.
Right, so we're through into the next round. We're through into the next round of the cup. We're going to squeeze in a podcast on Wednesday night after the Livingston game and we'll go into more depth about the Motherwell game. But did you all think we were going to see a Hibs Morton game? But obviously Motherwell struggled against them on Friday night, and we did say we don't know what Motherwell would turn up. Did it surprise you, Liam, that it went to penalties?
Didn't surprise me with the penalties, no, because I think the Motherwell have, like you said, been quite Jekyll and Hyde this season. Yeah, cliche. There you go. I'm not surprised that we're playing in the next round. But to be honest, I'm not. They're both lower ranked teams than us, so I'm not too disappointed that they got through. I think we've got a wee bit of a point to prove against them this season, because I don't think certainly in the 2 games at Easter Road, I don't think we have taken the game to them in the way that we should have. I know the second half at Fir Park we were really good against them, but 2 games at Easter Road, I would have expected better performances from us, to be honest. So, I'm hopeful we'll do them this time.
Alex, are you confident of Hibs getting back to a third semi-final in a row to get pumped?
I'd like to think so. I don't see why not. We're coming up. I don't know who it was just a minute ago says you don't know what kind of Motherwell are going to turn up. And when they turned up and beat us the other couple of months ago at Easter Road, wasn't expecting that. So I don't know. Just if we get there again and get beat, and it's all the same shite you've got to go through. But one of the commentators says that Hibs are a good cup team and they've been to loads of semi-finals. Like, oh, cheers, mate. That's
it is an interesting. I think we maybe spoke about it on here, or maybe we didn't speak about it on a podcast. But I'm sure, other than the season we got relegated, I think we've been at Hampden every season since the cup final when Hearts beat us. I think we've been in maybe there's one other season. The season that we got.
This is 4 semi-finals in a row as well, mate.
Aye, is it 4? Oh, aye.
That's because the League Cup we got beat 5-2 off Celtic.
Aye, there you go. So hopefully that like we can buck the trend. I mean, I think the Hibs I think we're just a good team in general. So I think it's always been the case that we can beat anyone in a one-off game. But anyway, before we get back to the Scottish Cup at the weekend, we've got our first home game of the post-split fixtures. Livingston obviously got put out of the cup. Draw with Aberdeen, then getting beat on penalties. Greg, what do you expect for Livingston? Obviously, only played them a couple of weeks ago.
Can I just add something to the semi-final?
You can do what you want.
I don't really give a fuck how many semi-finals we get to. It really doesn't bother me. If you don't win it, then what's the point? You don't say, "Oh, I got to the semi-final," though. It doesn't matter. Ultimately, you've not won the trophy, and the amount of times you've been at Hampden in semi-finals and finals and not won needs to be rectified, and this would be a big start this year.
Would you say that we're losers?
I would say we're losers, but I'll talk to you on Saturday night about that after the game, and I'll tell you then.
So, just to be devil's advocate, Greg, would you rather lose on Saturday or beat Motherwell than lose a semi-final? And don't say I'd rather us win the cup. That is not part of this game. Would you rather lose the quarter-final to Motherwell or get to another semi-final and get beat? Winning the cup is not an option in this game.
Ultimately, it doesn't matter, though.
Nah, but what would be your preference?
Again,
I'm just curious as to what.
Do I want to get to a third semi-final this season and make a total arse of it? Not really, no.
The question is, Greg, do you want to say Ross out on Saturday, or do you want to wait until after the semi-final?
I want to say it on Saturday because I've not said it in a long time, and I'm really fucking holding it in now. I might just chuck it there on Wednesday if we don't win.
Oh, cheeky.
Especially if Aberdeen managed to get signed off the Celtic. Yeah. But anyway, Greg, I did actually ask you what you expect of Livingston.
They've just hit a snag. I think we all kind of seen it coming after the one defeat for them, and they were going to decline. And to be honest, it's a team that embarrassed us in December at home. So it's our turn to embarrass them and go out and batter them for 90 minutes. Look, Aberdeen scoring in the loosest sense of the word. So I would like to see us put a wee bit of daylight between us and them. They've obviously got Celtic I'll not say anything on name, but I think, yeah, we just need to keep winning games. Disappointing against Rangers, should have got something out of the game, but Livy at home, perfect opportunity to get 3 points and get the passports back out.
Yep. And Liam, the next 2 games, win the next 2 games. Think that'll be pretty much it done. You've got to expect that Aberdeen won't get, fingers crossed, don't beat Celtic. I mean, do you think if we win our next 2 home games, that's it done?
Aye.
Harry?
Aye.
And Liam, are you confident that we'll get the job done on Wednesday night?
I think as long as we take the game to Livingston in the way that we have, probably really on the first game of the season, first game away at them this season. I think if we take the game to them in that manner and play on the front foot, I think we will beat Livingston on Wednesday night. I think they're a team who have achieved a great amount this season and managing to finish in the top 6. That's an achievement for a club like Livy. That's not being patronising. It just is, with the fan base that they've got, for them finishing the top 6 is good, and get to a cup final as well is probably as good as they can hope for. So I think, I wouldn't say their team are on the beach yet, but I think they are certainly kind of winding down. So I would expect us to win. Celtic beat them 6-0, and they were very, 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 very distant second best to Celtic. So, you know, I don't think we're a million miles off Celtic on our day. So I think we should go out there and beat them on Wednesday night. I don't think there can be any excuses now with some of the games between now and the end of the running. We're in control of our own fate, so we just need to go and win those games.
Yeah. Harry, is there an element of wariness, just the fact that we're Hibs fans and we're feeling quite good about the club now, so there is a fair chance that we might get beat 1-0 on Wednesday night?
Mate, Hibs don't do getting beat 1-0 this season. We do get beat 3-0. It's one of those things. I think it was a massive shock when them and Ross County came to us and they absolutely bamboozled us over the Christmas period, or New Year period, I suppose. But I think on paper, I've said it a few times this season, we're substantially better than the teams that we're playing. So I don't think there's any reason why we shouldn't go out there and win the game. So yeah, I think the main thing is for us, we need to start games well, because when we start games well, we tend to that's where we get most of our points. And when we start off slow, we tend to just fall out of the game. I think that the main reason that Livingston won so handedly when they played us is because they just came on the front foot and they were just after us the entire time. So if we can just keep possession for the first 10-15 and just take the wind at their sails, I think that's how I'd approach the game.
Do you think do you think it's too easy to just say we were shite in the New Year period, or do you think that was that paid?
I think that's very harsh. I thought Livingston, I thought we weren't great, but I thought Livingston were very good. And I don't think that's a coincidence, because they then that was part of their 15-game unbeaten run, and for any team to do that outside of the Old Firm is very impressive. So yeah, I think they were as much as they were good, we were bad. But I think I'd say they were slightly better than we were worse.
Got it, yeah. And Alex, obviously we did make 2 changes for the Stranraer game with Macy and McGuinness coming in. Do you think they'll both drop out for Gogic and Marciano?
Probably, with they'll be in the league. That's the sort of main starts in the league. I would say that they come back in. But again, with Macy and Marciano, what's the Marciano? Could he be on the wind down, like holiday mode, or who knows?
Do you have your concerns about that?
Really? No, I mean, if he's shite, then he'll just he'll go out with a sort of we'll remember him being shite at the end of his career, or his career, sorry. And I don't know if he wants that or not. I personally don't have too many worries about that. And Greg, just something obviously Liam said, maybe Livy on the wind down a wee bit, but I think they'll probably be looking at it. 5th place has got a good chance to get in Europe, because obviously if one of the top 4 win the Scottish Cup, then that spot, because obviously what we want to see happen is 3rd place gets the Scottish Cup place in theory, then that would bump down into 5th place. Do you think that'll be enough for Livy? No team, I don't think, chucks it entirely, but do you think that would be enough to keep them motivated and give us quite a tough game on Wednesday night?
Liam, close your ears, because no team goes out in the pitch to lose the game. So I don't see why they wouldn't come Easter Road and try and win. Yeah, the wind down is something that gets thrown out a lot. They're a good team. They've beaten teams like Kelly, Motherwell to top 6. So I think we should be wary. I certainly wouldn't think they would be on the wind down. Got a point to prove, and yeah, by all means, they want to make that fifth spot there. So we need to be aware of the threat that they pose.
Would you rather this game was at Livingston?
Absolutely. Unbeaten on AstroTurf and better away from home. Absolutely, we would rather it was away from home.
And Alex, just out of curiosity, have you planned your pre-match insult yet, or does it come spontaneously on the day?
No, I do it on the day. Genuinely, I do. So I'm not good with spreadsheets and that. If you can't anybody with spreadsheets, we'll just fire insults into it and we'll
just pull them out. Just try to randomise them.
No, I'm not giving it any thought.
Perfect. Well, what I
might be right in saying, was Livingston not your first ever one? Because I vividly remember you call them roundabout having bastards, and it did make my day the first time I ever saw that.
I don't know. I think this started with my old account, so I might have had a few on there as well. But somebody took offence to that. A guy from Livingston says, you leave our roundabouts alone, you prick. And sorry, mate.
Seeing as I live in Livingston, I feel like I have to defend the town and say that there is a fucking unacceptable amount of fucking roundabouts in this town. Like everywhere looks the fucking same, man. But it's fun. Like I mean, I've been here since I was 7, and I still get lost in some places yet. But hey, score prediction, Harry. What you got?
I've been going for quite outlandish ones, and I'm sick of Liam winning everything, so I'm going to take what I think is the obvious 3-0 Hibs. Boom.
Liam?
Well, after predicting 6-2 in the Stranraer game, I actually got the margin of victory correct in that game, so I did say it was going to be a 4-goal margin. So I'm going to just follow that up with a 3-0 win to Hibs.
So you're just tired of Harry.
I'd already decided what I was saying before he piped up.
I'm just going to interject here and say I said 5-0, and I thought, I mean, come on to fuck lads, how did we not get a fifth? But Greg, what you got?
I'm going to say 2-0, and the reason they're not scoring is because we're so good at the back, and I've said that all season.
And who in particular is impressing you at the back?
Oh, Paul Hanlon, strong in all areas of his game.
And Alex, what's your score prediction for Wednesday night? And I'm going to ask for some goal scorers from you as well.
I'll say a Desmond will go 2-2, and they'll score 2 first. They'll be up at half time 2-0, and we'll come back and equalise. And it'll be Doig and Doig again. He'll finally get 2 goals. Why not? Stick a fiver on it.
Just that's an interesting one. So on the back of Alex's score prediction, if that was to come through, would we all be shiting ourselves going into the last 3 games of the season?
Yes.
Already am.
Absolutely. Well, for me,
because Hibs have done anything wrong, just because there is obviously that element of, well, we've been here before. This is Hibs. But yeah, I wasn't overly impressed with Aberdeen at the weekend, so hopefully they can continue that.
I think Celtic were all right against Rangers for what I've seen. They just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net and they can't defend. So what is it to say? Football's won in the 2 boxes. There's get another cliche.
Ian Cathro. It was if Ian Cathro's Hearts team didn't play with goals and they would have won the game. So yeah, I mean you can look at things different ways, but I think goalposts are a pretty crucial part of the game, Ian. But there we go.
They do matter.
Goalposts matter.
And all goalposts matter. So Alex, obviously, you as the nominee won High Bay of the Week last week, and Liam was the nominator. So Alex, who would you go for High Bay of the Week this week?
But this week, any one of the fans that travelled to Stranraer and stuck the scarf on the fence, good on them.
Cut like Andrew Tinney's and sharing that a bit. And Liam, as our just fucking, you're gonna be like Celtic, just fucking winning everything. Who's your nomination?
Here comes the back post tapping.
No way to talk about Alex.
I'll take it.
I'd have to go for Martin Boyle as my back post happen of the week,
Well,
because I
that's
just
fine, he'll
felt
not
like I just felt
doesn't
like his performance was, let me wax lyrical for a minute to boost my numbers, please. I just felt like his performance on Sunday was outstanding, particularly in the second half. And we've not really talked about this podcast, we kind of did, we glossed over it, but his ability to keep getting back up after he gets kicked and scythe down that challenge on Sunday, fucking hell. And he got straight back up again, as he always does. So Martin Boyle from High B the week, please.
Just for what you were saying about tackle, there was one on Jackson Irvine that they just sort of, it was terrible, man. But he got up and it was all right. So I guess no harm, no foul. Harry, who are you going for?
Well, I was going to say I'll step out because we've only got 4 options, Ewan. Okay. So you two can take it, and I'll let one of you win this week.
No, I better fucking think of one. Greg, who are you taking?
That Deutsch guy. What a player. Unbelievable. Well, I don't even need to explain myself.
I mean, I think, do you think Jiggy listens to the podcast? We defended him week after week. You don't get to agree. You slated him week after week. Me and Harry and Liam defended him. Now you're right off his chuff. For me, I'm going to go. I can't say Nisbet as much as I want to say Nisbet, and I have done all season because he missed about 110 chances, and he said himself he should have about 9. I'm going to say Kevin Nisbet just for scoring a goal. But I mean, come on, was it even on target? Can we be sure that was on target?
Why do you not say Kevin Nisbet? Because he interrupted the interview afterward by saying hello.
No, that works. That works. That works. Kevin Nisbet because he has a better grasp of the English language than my fine self. And Harry, we're going to pass over to you now for a little bit of a different segment this week. I don't think we're going with High B quiz, are we?
I know. So, welcome to the Harry Hybe section of the show. Well, as you know, we normally do a Harry Hybe quiz, and it's a bit mental. So I thought we'll tone it down this week. But we'll not tone it down at all. And welcome back to the Harry Hybe quote. This is when I give the boys a situation that they're not very comfortable, a stance they're not very comfortable defending, and they have 30 seconds, which I will time on my phone, in which they have to then answer the thing posed to them. It'll make sense. I'll get you in to go first. Actually, we'll get Greg to go first because I know what Greg's is. All right, Greg, you have got 30 seconds to tell me why Paul McGinn deserves Player of the Season. All right, 3, 2, 1.
He's a consistent performer. You can always rely on him. He's chipped in with some absolute rakers, especially the one away at Hamilton. And the best part about that goal was he ran onto the shot, stuck it top bin, and he didn't interrupt his stride to go and celebrate with the subs. If the net wasn't there, the gazebo was going with the ball. So yeah, Player of the Year for me.
With 5 seconds to go, it's beautiful. That was well put. All right, Liam, we're coming to you. This is your first time appearing in the High B Court. How are you feeling? Are you nervous?
Oh, I'm bricking it, mate.
All right, well, good, because it is your favourite topic. You have got to tell us why commentators cannot say enough cliches when covering football. So why there needs to be more cliches in football commentary. And I
just absolutely love hearing the same patter trotted out, irrespective of where I'm watching, what game I'm hearing. There's something lovely and robotic that just helps me really engage and enjoy the football when I just get to hear the same patter over and over again. And one of the things I love the most is when people say typical insert football team. I love that patter as well, because that really, really, really excites me. I love commentary. I love commentators. I love pundits. I love Michael Owen. You've got scored goals named in the game.
I'm sorry. You have 30 seconds, my man. I'm sorry. I think, to be honest, you've actually fallen in love with football cliches and you're ready to wax lyrical for years on end. All right.
They're my fave.
We're going to save Alex till last, so Ewan, We're going to you.
Okay.
You've got 30 seconds to tell us why.
Oh,
Hibs...
I'm just going to interrupt you to say greedy Liverpool have just went 1-0 up. But we'll get onto that subject after
Nobody
we finish with the
cares.
quote.
Shite
We'll
league.
Actually, thank you very much, Ewan, because you've just spoiled the question, because the question is why Hibs should be the Scottish representative that are entered in to the European Super League.
Oh, right.
3, 2, 1.
Because we are the biggest club in the country. We don't have to tell people how big we are. ESL know how big we are. Have you seen the amount of penalties we've got this season? We run the show. You don't need to win 55 league titles in the space of 10 years to be big. You don't need to win 9 in a row but only be satisfied with 10 in a row and it never to come. What you need is one day, one glorious day to show just how fucking big you are, and that's what we done.
Oh, and we're cutting you off there. You put passion in, we're proud of you. I must say I have enjoyed the whole time looking at Alex and seeing how much he's shitting himself for what question is coming his way. I guess fair to say that the pressure's on Alex. We've had some good answers so far. I'll give you a good 15 seconds to think about it because it is your specialty. But we're flipping it back on you. You've got to go in the mind of an away fan coming to Easter Road. You've got to do an anti-Hibs rant in 30 seconds. Oh. So you can think for 10, 15 seconds and then we'll come back to you. Wow. So in the meantime, what's something I enjoyed about the game at the weekend?
Yeah,
are you ready? Aye. All right, he's ready for it. Right, 3, 2.
Well, why don't we just go with a load of cliches and say that they're spoon burning junkie bastards for Leaf that fucking I don't know. What is it? Hibs and the San Jairo that we play in, fucking probably rat infested. I bet you they shag their own mums and that. I don't know. Probably didn't go to school, skip school. Fucking the shag hearts and that. We keep going. Off the back of fucking winning at Hampden, and they just want to shag the proclaimers. Fuck them.
My favourite thing about that is that he calls us spoon burners, then junkie bastards, just to make sure.
Just to emphasise the point.
Oh, well, weekend our 30-second video clip that's going on Twitter this week. All right, lads, being honest, I was hopeful that question would go down well when it was answered by Alex, and I'm afraid to say he did blow you all out the water. So congratulations for one at the Harry Hibs court. Do you want to leave second place? Second place.
Can I just say that Liam's answer felt like a personal attack with the same patter all the time? I'll let it go.
The only way to settle it, you just have to have a charity boxing match set up by DTS. We'll sponsor it
on Zoom.
On Zoom. But yeah, in terms of our DTF guys, can we give them a half point for it? I thought that Ewan spoke very well there about why Hibs were a massive side. But yeah, Alex, congratulations for winning.
Nice one. Cheers.
Well done, Alex.
Surprise money.
Get a high five through the camera.
Mate.
We'll send you a Hibs badge in the post.
Oh.
So we normally wrap up on the back of the Harry's Hibs Quiz Hibs Court, but obviously in the last 24 hours or so, there's been some big developments across European football, and let's just have a wee chat about our thoughts on this Super League and how we think it might.
I'm dying to. I've got so much shite to say. I'm dying to go. I only came on the podcast for this segment tonight.
So I'm just going to say that obviously I'm a Liverpool fan, and I think it's just this fucking waste of time. It's just going to kill it. And I mean, me and Harry are big fans of American sport, and it works in America. But football is football. It's no designed for. I think there has to be an element of commerciality to it, but to make this closed competition, it's just utter garbage. You see how happy we all get at the thought of grabbing our passports to go and play the 5th best team in Greece. Well, all of that's going to go to shit if this Super League becomes a thing, because UEFA will eventually, the competitions will become defunct. But Greg, I will let you take it away.
Okay, so you're basically taking the richest clubs in the world and concentrating the wealth on them and making them richer, so the gap gets bigger between them and the other clubs in their respective leagues. Pretty much what happens in society, where the rich get richer and the people below them don't see any benefit. How can you tell me that, I mean, the teams in it are a shambles? You tell me that Tottenham and Arsenal deserve to be in there. Both absolute myths. I think it's absolutely disgusting that, like, for example, Liverpool, you say, have said they want to go in it, and then Jurgen Klopp came out today and said, I don't want any part of it. Yep. So these discussions aren't even taking place with the players or the manager. It's the people in charge of these clubs that are millionaires, billionaires, whatever, that are making these decisions on behalf of the people that matter most at the club, and that's the fans. And then you've got the managers and the players that play an important part. So yeah, I just think it's absolutely disgusting. The silence for some clubs have been deafening, and I think Gary Neville can be a bit of a tit sometimes, but he's absolutely spot on, and you can just see how much passion he has on the subject. It's just going to ruin football, and it's going to kill off dreams like going to Greece and
Leicester winning the league.
Aye, like it's just going to kill all that off, because the fairy tale's been going to be taken right out of football, and that's what we go to the games for, and that's what you tune into the big games for, to see upsets and all that, and it's just not going to happen, is it?
No.
See on the Gary Neville thing. Just quickly. So I know we're all going to get a chance to speak on this, but I've got a wee bit of an issue with Gary Neville and Sky speaking out, acting like the fucking paragons of virtue on this, because Sky are the ones that created this problem with the money that they spent on football in this country. Sky have paid over the odds for a product which, frankly, is not worth the money. If you've watched the English Premier League since the beginning of lockdown, you'll realise that actually the quality of the product is very much overhyped and overinflated. So Sky for me are the big problem. The greedy clubs are the problem as well. The 12 clubs are all universally owned by fat cats. The Glazers at Man United are a disgusting group of people who, in the 15 years that they've owned Man United, have released 2 statements to fans to tell them what they're doing. They're a bunch of rank amateurs. If you look at the sports clubs that they have in the States, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I know they've had a bit of success recently, but up until then they were a nothing club. They're just a cash cow for these rich guys. That's all they are. So quite frankly, I'll not be watching it. And to be honest, my interest in English football's kind of started to wane over the last few years anyway, but I just can't see me bothering to watch Man United play Juventus 4 times a season. It doesn't interest me. Soulless.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, like I say, I follow Liverpool. Even when they won the Champions League a few years ago and won the Premier League, I celebrated them like mad, Greg, you know that. But even like today, Liverpool were playing, and I was like, straight away, you just feel like, so Liverpool are going towards top 4. That game within the last 24 hours has literally become pointless, because Liverpool will not be playing, even if they finish in top 4, they won't be playing in the Champions League next season. And the Champions League is the Super League. You know what I mean? That is what it's there for. The Champions League, you've seen what they released today, and this is the thing. UEFA and FIFA, for me, and the Premier League, they've all now become, like what you were saying, I think they've just become victims of their own greed. And now the clubs have said, and I don't think it's the football clubs, it's the owners. Because like you've seen from what you're...
Sorry, see on the Champions League, did you know that Hearts once played a Champions League qualifier at Murrayfield?
I knew that. I didn't.
That's something we didn't hear about enough.
Harry, I'm curious to get your thoughts on this, because you're a big fan of American sport. Do you see, maybe you should try and play devil's advocate here, do you see any benefit to this in football? I think you might struggle.
Earlier, but my opinion is, I think that if you take all the top teams out of the league, I would become interested in English football again. And I think if you removed the old firm from Scottish football, I think the game would massively improve over the course of the next 10, 15 years. Obviously, in Scottish football, if you remove them, you lose a lot of money because that's where you get your TV broadcasting. That's where you get most of your sponsors coming in. But the product we've got, like third, I know Aberdeen have kind of solidified it, but before Aberdeen solidified that, you get a different team in third every year. Like Scottish football's so good, and as Liam touched on earlier, we just don't give ourselves enough credit. And like Sky bought us just so they could have the Old Firm games. They don't care about any team in Scotland apart from them. Like Rangers, I don't think their away fans have spent a penny this season on PPTV.
15 quid they've spent.
Like that's ridiculous. Like I think Ross County are nearly 300 quid in, and then you get the Old Firm fans getting it for free. You can what? Someone put a picture up of the Premier League next season if you remove the top 6, and it looked banging. I was like, I'd watch that every week. I'd catch every game and be interested. But it's just because you know these people. Because the problem is, I think that FIFA and UEFA need to call it their bluffs. They need to be like, you can what? Go and do your own league. We didn't give a shit. Fuck you. Fuck the lot of yous. And see the fans that are like, well, that's no fair on us. Go and support your local team then. Stop going down to bloody Liverpool when you're living in London, or stop going to Manchester when you're living in bloody France. Start supporting your local team. Put your money where it actually deserves to be, instead of just feeding these rich billionaires at the top. Because you can what? This ESL is a Tory league. That is what it is. And you can what? All the Tory fans from around the world will watch the Tory league and they'll love it. And you can what? Good for them, but just didn't get anywhere near our football. All that FIFA and UEFA need to do is be like, that's fine, stay away from our leagues, ban all their players from the World Cup, because they'll not be wanting to play there any longer if they can't go to the World Cup. Because for me, the pinnacle of football is not the European Super League, it's the World Cup. And if they're going to sacrifice their, international stage for paycheck, they're a bunch of gimps. No, you can't what they are. They're losers.
Yeah. I think it's a big thing because obviously they've come out today and said, look, anyone that participates will not play in a major international competition. So
I was just about to say, do you think that's right? Because this isn't the player's decision.
It's their decision to stay at the club.
Mm-hmm.
But they've got contracts.
But surely like I'm sure lawyers could work it out that they can't just get dumped into a league that takes away their international rights.
If Bruno Fernandes and Mohamed Salah and guys of that nature turn around and say we're not playing in it, it won't happen. So player power is still existing. The thing that I picked up on today that enraged me, I'll just shut up after I've said this, is Dan Rowan at the BBC was talking about, he'd spoken to someone who was involved in the ESL, and he described them. I described fans of supporters of current clubs just now as legacy fans, and they were looking to attract fans of the future who are superstar names. Legacy fans who have been supporting some of those clubs for 150 years, and you're describing them as a legacy. Like, where is your loyalty? Do you not understand that the fans actually built those clubs and have ensured those clubs survive? It's just disgusting. It's capitalism. It's what I say. That's what it is.
I think as well. The fans make the clubs. You know, the fans plough hard-earned money into clubs. They'll spend money, season tickets. They'll spend it in the shops. They'll do everything they can to support the club. And for clubs to turn around and be like, "Oh well, thanks for that, but we're going to join this ridiculous league." And to be honest, you'll not get to go to the games really because you'll be
playing them in Dubai, and they'll be playing them in. It's like, this is the thing. So again, maybe I'll speak to it maybe from a sort of Liverpool point of view, and by known I'm not a fucking Scouser, so maybe I'm fucking part of the problem. But like the people in Liverpool, again, I'll speak to it from this point of view. They are the ones that are going to get punished. You know what I mean? They're going to lose their club. Like, this isn't a Liverpool thing. Like, they already moan about having too many games, and again, you've seen what I think Greg mentioned it. Jurgen Klopp came out and was like, I literally found out at 10:30, the same as yours last night when the statement came out. Like, they say they have too many games, but they fuck off to Asia on pre-season tour, to America on pre-season tour. It's been going this way for long enough, and it's just complete and utter greed. But Alex,
why do they do that though? Why do they do that? Of course it is. Everything in football has become so soulless. You look at Liverpool, right? Liverpool, Merseyside is such a working class area. Both Liverpool and Everton describe themselves as a people's club, built by the fans, and then you're going to just chuck all that for what? For money, for ridiculous amounts of money. And this is a problem. The billionaire owners just want more and more and more. All the fans want is a club that they can relate to.
That was quite
And
beautiful.
Alex, to bring it back to maybe Scottish football, I believe in the last year or so since Ron Gordon has been in the picture at Hibs, there has been a few newspaper articles talking about, I want to say like a North Atlantic league or something, maybe like Scottish clubs and like Norwegian clubs and that. Would that, if that was something that came out and Hibs were involved in something like that, how would that make you feel, like if Hibs started playing games against Brøndby and that in the league as a league competition?
When the news came out last night and the joint statement to everybody, the first thing that caught my eye was that we are the founding clubs of the Super League, and that means it's going to get bigger. That means there's going to be more people or more teams coming into it. I'd be interested if it was a super duper league and all you take is the best fans for each country, which is obviously Hibs for Scotland, and you go and play Galatasaray and that, and just have a big massive atmosphere, a big party, and that's it. You didn't allow the Glazers near it or anything. A big Galatasaray just came to my head. I don't know. There's other clubs, but that's what I would think.
That sounds like a good.
Aye.
You should. We've got a good guest on next week. Actually, we'll pitch the super duper guest to them next week, and we'll pitch the super duper league to them. And I think that's got some traction there. And then
once every 4 years, that's when they meet up, and it's a one-off. But it's all the best fans, and obviously we've got Sunshine on Leith, and nobody can top that. So fuck them.
We win. So we just won by default. So I think.
I know you're probably sick of hearing my voice, but just to bring it back to Scottish football, obviously the Betfred Cup involves teams from other countries.
The lower league.
Yeah. What do you think about that? Is that the first step to something bigger?
Can I just say,
I know that we all kind of got excited. Oh well, Linfield away, etc. But yeah, I mean, for me, it's fucking pointless, isn't it?
Can I just say, I think that, well, from a fan's perspective, I don't know how much you guys will agree, but I've thought that the League Cup, ever since we won it in 2007, has kind of been redundant. I've not really cared that much about it. As I've said several times, we've got bigger fish to fry. But for me, I've always thought that a full UK, a British Cup, so have Northern Ireland if they were involved as well, Wales, England, Scotland, and then you just put every single league team in it, and then you just have a knockout bracket, and that's how you start the season. I think that would be class. Imagine
know the old firm and know the top six in England.
I
just want to see Celtic draw Linfield away in the first round of that cup. Like that's what I'm here for.
But I've always thought that'd be a fun competition. Like,
going back to what Greg said, I think I would agree with Harry. I don't think there's any issue having competitions cross border, especially in a situation like what the UK is in terms of it being an island and stuff like that. It wouldn't be that big a deal. You know what I mean? It's a cup competition as long as it wasn't. It would never go, because for the exact reason that the Super League can go, it's not going to bring in the money, and that's why I wouldn't be against it, because I don't think a competition where Hibs played fucking, I don't know, Accrington Stanley isn't going to mean any less to Hibs winning the Scottish Cup. Whereas I think in this situation, this Super League does totally devalue La Liga, the Premiership, and all of that. But do you think it will happen?
Straight name for the league as well.
Did you see the branding? It's just a fucking football pitch with black and white letters, and then a little bit of pink and blue on the zip.
Do you know
it makes Liam's 40 look fucking top notch.
Do you know what speaks volumes? Is it JP Morgan or Morgan Stanley that are going to run it? That just sums it up for me. That there's a big multi-billion-pound company that think, oh yes, let's get our name on this. It's just greed. Like Liam said, it's capitalism at its worst, and it is just utter greed. And do you know what? Folk will probably jump on the bandwagon and think, oh, this is class. But why would you need to prove to other fans in other countries that pretend to support these clubs that it's a good idea, when really you're just absolutely hammering your own fans? So
just to summarise then, but to wrap us up one finally on this before we call it a night. What do you think this could impact on the Scotland squad for the for the Euros. Obviously, as it would stand, potentially Kieran Tierney and Andrew Robertson would not be in the squad. Would that open a door for a certain Mr. Josh Doig?
Aye, because see, what happens is you get losers and they argue about Tierney versus Robertson, and then you get winners and we argue about Doig versus Hickey, the real left backs of Scotland.
Aaron Hickey versus Josh Doig. Aaron Hickey versus Josh Doig pyjamas. We established this months ago.
Aye, Aaron Hickey, not to be too serious about it, but he's dislocated his shoulder, and I saw a Hearts fan tweet that he's out for the Euros, and I was like, he was never in for the Euros, pal. So I don't think he can tell that he's out.
Right, well, any more on the Super League? I know Greg could go all night.
Because I could honestly go all night. It has really annoyed me, just with the utter greed of some clubs, and yeah, I don't want to go on about it anymore.
See, can I say a final thing just on it? Because I'm like Greg, I think there's still some mileage left in this. See, for me, and I'm in my 30s now, right? So I'm kind of detached from younger generation.
Notice the lull in your voice there.
Right? I'm being serious.
I would like to say before anyone jumps in, I'm only 26.
All right, you turned 50 last week, Greg. Shut up. Oh my goodness.
Tough fucking paper round, eh? So what I'd like to say is I just don't know. There's this young generation now that are kind of at school age who are all cutting about wearing like PSG tops and fucking Juve tops and Man United and Liverpool tops, and actually that's what they're banking on, is these young generation of fans who are going to go up not supporting our local clubs. It's been a long time since they've been in the ground, so it's hard to assess, but I still think that there's plenty of fans who do want to support their local clubs, and I think the reaction that's happened on Twitter over just the last 24 hours, I think football fans are in the main probably 95% plus are against this. That or there's a really silent minority. So I think without the fans, I don't think it can happen. I think they'll be surprised at the reaction that they've seen. So let's just fingers crossed it goes in the bin, like the fucking Old Firm Colt clubs and the Old Firm going to England and all these other things that we just keep hearing about every so often.
Yeah, no, spot on. I think that's the perfect place for us to wrap up anyway tonight. So, like we say, we'll be recording an episode on Wednesday night after the football. Remember, Greg, it's a 6 o'clock kickoff on Wednesday night. Didn't go missing the game and logging in the Hibs pass at 8 o'clock.
I'm just going to log in at 8 o'clock to fucking miss. It will remain nameless.
So we'll record a quick one on Wednesday night talking about the game and then sort of doing a preview for the cup game. Alex, thanks very much for joining us. No doubt we'll enjoy seeing your pre-match tweet on Wednesday night and going forward. But thanks very much for listening, guys. We'll be back later this week and then obviously back again next Monday as per. Cheers.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.